Each morning offers a brief and sacred pause. Before the world begins to pull at your attention, before the noise, the deadlines, the opinions. In that stillness, you have a choice to take command of your thoughts, to shape your direction, and to build your mindset before anything external can shape it for you. This moment is not just a habit, it's a personal declaration, a quiet but firm decision to live with purpose, not passivity. To show up for yourself before the rest of the world starts asking for pieces of you. So before your phone lights up, before the world gets loud, take a breath. Feel it expand your chest. Let it remind you, you're here, alive, and capable. That in itself is a quiet miracle. And with that miracle comes responsibility. Not to drift, but to decide. What will today mean? What will you bring into it? This isn't about perfection. It's about alignment, about setting an internal compass that guides your actions, your mindset, your response to everything that follows. In this video, we'll explore how to begin your day not just awake, but aware, grounded in intention, anchored in gratitude, fueled by a deeper reason for being. Stay with us and reshape how your mornings begin. Number 1. Set clear goals and intentions. There's a quiet truth many men come to understand only after years of running, chasing results, approval, or just trying to stay afloat. The truth is this: if you don't define your day with clarity, the world will do it for you. And most of the time, it won't be in your favor. You weren't made to drift. You weren't built to just survive another 24 hours. At this stage in life, every day is a currency, and meaning is the only thing worth spending it on. So when you wake, don't reach for distraction. Don't jump straight into the noise. Ask yourself something real. What am I building? What matters today? Not for a resume, not for applause, but for the man I want to become. The Stoics taught not about controlling everything, but about commanding what we can, our responses, our direction, our values. Intention is where that begins. It's not about making lists or forcing productivity. It's about aligning your energy with what actually counts. Your integrity, your presence, your sense of direction. Each morning is a reset, a chance to start with structure and stillness instead of stress. You don't need big declarations. You need grounded decisions. Maybe it's being fully present at the dinner table tonight. Maybe it's choosing not to react in anger when provoked. Maybe it's showing up for your work with pride, even if no one notices. That's discipline. And discipline is a form of quiet strength. Most men don't lack ambition. They lack alignment. Without clarity, we confuse motion with progress and noise with value. That's why morning intention isn't a trend. It's a necessity. You're not here to be swept away by the current. You're here to stand firm in it. You're not a boy anymore. You've seen enough to know that time doesn't wait, and that purpose doesn't arrive. It's chosen. Set it daily, and protect it with your actions. This video will walk you through how to live that way, on your terms, with your values, using Stoic insight not as philosophy, but as armor. Because once you lead yourself, everything else follows. And once your mornings belong to you, your life does too. Number 2, discipline is your secret weapon. Discipline is not a burden you carry. It's the quiet fire that sharpens your edge. Talk is cheap. Desire is common. The world is full of men with ambition, but few who have the resolve to carry it through. What separates a man who merely dreams from one who builds is this: the ability to return to the task again and again, regardless of excitement, mood, or convenience. True discipline isn't about denying yourself joy or living in restriction. It's about wielding your energy with precision. It's a choice, a hard one, that grants you control over your own life instead of being at the mercy of impulses and distractions. Each day, when you choose to honor the things that matter over the things that tempt, you reaffirm your strength. Not to impress anyone, not to get applause, but because you know who you're becoming. And when you rise in the morning, don't just think about what you want to accomplish for yourself. Think about the people around you. Think about the weight others are carrying. Somewhere, someone will need your patience, your wisdom, or your quiet presence today. Real success is never just about what you accumulate. It's about what you give. The way you carry yourself might change someone's day. The words you speak, or choose not to, might lift someone who's slipping. You don't have to be loud to be powerful. You just have to be intentional. That's where humility comes in. The higher you climb, the more essential it becomes to stay rooted. Look back once in a while. Remember who you were when you were struggling, before the growth, before the strength. Not to cling to the past, but to never lose touch with the humanity that molded you. The late nights, the rejections, the inner battles no one saw. Let those moments shape your posture today, not in bitterness, but in perspective. Humility isn't weakness, it's clarity. It reminds you that everything can shift, that no matter how far you've come, you're always a student. It keeps your ego in check so your integrity can lead. And in a world where so many are chasing validation, humility will keep you focused on what's real: your character, your impact, your legacy. Discipline and humility, when woven together, create the kind of man who doesn't just chase moments of greatness, but lives with quiet, consistent excellence. Not for show, but because that's what real strength looks like. And if you hold that line long enough, you won't just achieve your goals. You'll become someone even your past self would respect. Number 3. 5. Face your fears. Fear doesn't shout. It whispers. It disguises itself as logic, as hesitation, as responsibility. It tells you now isn't the right time, that you're not ready yet, that risk is too high and failure too embarrassing. And if you're not careful, you'll believe it. You'll confuse fear with wisdom, and in doing so, hand over your life inch by inch to avoidance. But every man reaches a point where he must decide: will I keep retreating into comfort, or will I walk toward what unsettles me? Fear isn't always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it looks like indecision, like staying in a job that drains your spirit, like holding your tongue when your truth needs to be spoken, like convincing yourself that your best years are behind you. But deep down, you know better. You know that behind the discomfort is the man you're still meant to become. Fear is a natural instinct. It was made to protect us when threats were real and survival was uncertain. But in the modern world, most fear is no longer about survival. It's about the stories we tell ourselves. Stories that have gone unchallenged. Stories that keep you from standing on that stage, speaking your truth, or pursuing the path you've quietly dreamed about for years. And the only way to break those stories is to act. To face the thing, not wait for the feeling. Action exposes fear for what it is. Not a wall, but a veil. Growth doesn't come through ease. It comes through resistance. The discomfort you avoid is the exact weight that would have made you stronger had you chosen to carry it. And fear, more than anything else, reveals where that weight is. You don't need to be fearless. That's a myth sold to boys. Real men feel fear and move anyway. They use it, They lean into it, not because it disappears, but because they know what's on the other side is more valuable than staying the same. Every time you confront fear directly, you reclaim a piece of yourself that hesitation had borrowed. Whether it's stepping into an unknown chapter, speaking hard truths, or letting go of what no longer serves you, each act of courage adds depth to who you are. And here's the truth. No one's coming to remove that fear for you. No book, no podcast, no perfect plan. It's yours to face. But once you do, something changes. Your confidence is no longer theoretical. It's earned. You walk differently, speak differently, live differently. So ask yourself, what have you been putting off? What truth are you still afraid to live? What version of yourself have you abandoned because fear seems safer than growth? It's time to go get him back. Fear may never leave completely, but neither will your strength if you choose to use it. Number 4, live fully in the present. There comes a point in a man's life when the past starts to weigh heavier and the future begins to whisper louder. Regrets echo, expectations multiply, and somewhere in between, the present becomes a blur. Something you pass through, not something you live in. But real life, the kind with depth, meaning, and presence, is only ever found in this moment. Not in the version of yourself you used to be, not in the man you're still chasing, but in the breath you're taking right now, and in the choices you're willing to make with it. The modern world feeds restlessness. Everything pulls you forward or drags you back. You're expected to hustle, to reflect, to fix, to plan. But what if the very thing you're searching for, peace, connection, clarity, wasn't somewhere out there, but already within reach, quietly waiting for you to slow down and pay attention? To live fully in the present is not some empty spiritual slogan. It's a discipline, a strength forged in silence. It's what happens when you stop negotiating with time and start showing up for what's real. The look in your child's eyes, the stillness of early morning light, the dignity of a task done well, even if no one sees it. Even the Stoics, men of action and responsibility, knew this. Marcus Aurelius, worn by the burdens of empire and war, didn't write to glorify power. He wrote to remind himself to return to the now, to his breath, to the work in front of him. Not because it was easy, but because it was the only place his power existed. And that's true for you too. You don't control the outcomes. You don't get to rewrite the past or predict the future. But you do control how you meet this hour. You control your posture, your thoughts, your presence. That's where your strength lives. Not in domination, but in attention. When you learn to inhabit the moment, you begin to see the truth of things. Relationships deepen, not because you say the perfect words, but because you actually listen. Stress lessens, not because the world changes, but because you stop dragging every possibility into the present. Even success feels different, not like something you have to chase, but something that rises from consistency, clarity, and calm. Time is not the enemy. Distraction is. And most of what robs us of meaning doesn't come from tragedy. It comes from being half alive in our own lives. So ask yourself, what would change if you stopped running? What might open up if you gave the present your full weight? You may find that the fulfillment you've been chasing doesn't come from doing more, but from finally being here, fully, where your hands, your thoughts, and your heart all meet. You don't need to abandon your ambition, but you do need to remember, a man who can be present is a man who can lead, who can love, who can build. And in a world that is constantly pulling men out of themselves, presence might just be the most radical form of power left. Number 5. Say positive words. There's a moment each morning, just before the world starts pulling at you, where everything is still. And in that space, before the headlines, before the noise, you speak to yourself. That voice may be quiet, but it's powerful. Because how you begin your day isn't just habit, it's declaration. You don't need a crowd. You don't need a spotlight. What you need is a mindset grounded in truth and discipline. And that begins with language. Not the language of false positivity, not sugar-coated affirmations meant to distract you from life's weight. I'm talking about something stronger. Words that anchor you. Words that speak to the man you're becoming, not just the man you were yesterday. The right words can straighten your spine before your feet hit the ground. They can pull you out of excuses and into ownership. When you say, "Today I show up," you're not ignoring the storms ahead. You're walking into them with your eyes open. The mind, especially as we age, doesn't need more hype. It needs alignment, clarity, inner command. Because after a certain point, you realize that energy is too precious to waste on doubt. So speak in a way that builds strength. Speak like someone who knows time is limited and every moment counts. History remembers the men who carried themselves with quiet purpose. They weren't loud, but they were clear. Men like that didn't wake up searching for external validation. They spoke power into their day before the world had a chance to shape it for them. You have that same ability. And it starts with choosing your inner language like you would your closest allies, carefully and with conviction. You've fought battles already. You've learned what happens when you let fear narrate your day. You've also seen the difference when you speak with strength, even when no one's listening. Especially then. And those words, when chosen with purpose, don't just change your outlook. They change your presence. They affect how you lead, how you listen, how you love. They echo into every room you walk into and every person you choose to stand beside. So tomorrow morning, when the alarm sounds and the day begins, don't leave it to chance. Decide who's speaking first. Let it be the voice of the man you respect, the one who chooses courage over comfort and meaning over noise. Because in the end, your words shape your world. Make them count. Number 6. Gratitude is the foundation. There's a kind of power most men overlook, not because it's weak, but because it's quiet. It doesn't roar. It doesn't demand attention. But when it's present, it changes everything. That power is gratitude. Not the kind printed on coffee mugs or posted on social media. The real kind. The kind you feel in your chest when you're alone with your thoughts and realize that despite everything life has taken from you, it's still given more than it's withheld. As men, we're trained to chase, to fix, to conquer. But when you're constantly reaching for the next thing, you stop noticing the ground beneath your feet. You forget that the ability to move, to choose, to breathe freely, those aren't guarantees. They're privileges. And if you've made it past 35, you've likely learned that some mornings arrive carrying more weight than others. The aches are no longer just in your muscles. They show up in your memory, in your spirit. Gratitude, then, becomes something else entirely. It's not sentimental. It's strategic. It becomes your anchor. When you wake up and everything feels heavy, when your responsibilities, your past, your failures, your unspoken worries all sit on your chest like bricks, it's gratitude that keeps you from collapsing. It reminds you that not all is broken, that your story, however messy, still has pages left to write. That breath in your lungs, that quiet rhythm in your chest, that's not something you commanded. It's something you were handed. No contract, no explanation, just grace. And grace, when seen clearly, doesn't make you soft. It makes you strong, because it humbles you without humiliating you. It shows you how to hold both ambition and appreciation in the same hands. It teaches you that a man isn't weak for being thankful. He's wise. You can still build. You can still push forward, but do it with eyes that see the full picture, not just the gaps in your bank account, or the weight you haven't lost, or the success you haven't achieved yet. See the people who still call your name, the roof that held up through the storm, the moments you thought would break you, but didn't. Most men wait too long to realize what they had. Don't be one of them. Gratitude doesn't mean settling. It means sharpening your awareness. It's the discipline of noticing, of honoring what is, so you can move toward what could be, without bitterness or blindness. So when tomorrow comes and your eyes open, don't start with what's missing. Start with what remains. Not because it's easy, but because it's true. And the truth, no matter how quiet, always makes a man stronger. Number 7, see the hidden value in everything. There's a kind of quiet strength in simply rising to meet the day. Not everyone can. And yet, for many of us, it becomes routine, unnoticed, unappreciated. We open our eyes, stand up, and move forward, rarely acknowledging the quiet miracle in that very act. But somewhere in the world, someone's fighting just to breathe, just to find clean water, just to feel safe for one more night. The things we brush off as ordinary would be a dream to them. And that's the hard truth. Most of us don't lack blessings. We lack awareness. Gratitude isn't meant to be reserved for sunny days or victories. It's not just about saying thanks when everything feels right. Its real weight is found in the moments that test us. When your body aches, when your plans fall apart, when the silence around you feels heavy. Those are the moments when gratitude is hardest and most necessary. Because within every hardship, there's something shaping you. Every setback you survive carves out more depth in your character. Every struggle refines you, not in the way comfort does, but in the way fire forges steel. You start to see that pain isn't the end of the story. Sometimes, it's the beginning of a better one. Being grateful in the midst of difficulty doesn't mean you pretend it doesn't hurt. It means you acknowledge that the pain has purpose, that it can teach, sharpen, and expand you. That today's discomfort might just be tomorrow's clarity. There's dignity in a man who can face the weight of life and still choose to be thankful. Not because he's blind to the hardship, but because he knows what it's building in him. He's not numb. He's aware. He's paying attention to what life is offering, even when it comes wrapped in loss or failure. So if you woke up today with the ability to move, to speak, to decide, that's not small. That's something real. And if you can face this day with even a flicker of awareness for what you still have, then you're not just surviving. You're growing. You're becoming. Gratitude, at its core, is not about comfort. It's about vision, the ability to look at what's broken and still see the pieces worth holding on to, the strength to move forward, not with bitterness, but with perspective. Because even when life is hard, there's always something inside you that can rise to meet it. And that, more than anything, is what makes you unshakable. Number 8, ponder your dreams. There's a moment before every day begins, a quiet space, still untouched by obligation, where a man can choose to remember what truly drives him. Not what the world expects, not what others celebrate, but the inner call that refuses to let him settle for a life on autopilot. A dream, when it's real, isn't about fantasy. It isn't a motivational slogan. It's something far more serious. A vision forged from the deepest convictions a man carries. It's rooted in values that don't shift with trends. And it asks for everything. Not just belief, not just desire, but presence, grit, willingness. You see, there's a reason many men lose sight of their dreams. Life becomes practical, urgent, demanding. You learn to put out fires, not build futures. But over time, when you stop checking in with what you truly want, you become a stranger to your own life. You begin existing instead of living. So every morning, before the world interrupts, ask yourself, not what do I want, but why does it still matter? Why does this vision still stir something in me that won't die, no matter how many times I've failed? Because the strength of a dream doesn't come from being easy. It comes from its refusal to let you go. Imagine, for just a moment, that you've made it. That the thing you've been silently building toward has come to life. Not because it dropped into your lap, but because you carried it across seasons of doubt, fatigue, and obscurity. Feel what it would mean, not to have it, but to have earned it. That imagined moment isn't a fantasy. It's a reference point, a reminder that who you're becoming is forged one small decision at a time. You won't get there by wishing. You'll get there by aligning your habits with your convictions. That's what separates the man who talks from the one who quietly, methodically builds. And don't mistake delay for failure. Life bends, circumstances shift, and the shape of your dream may change too. That doesn't mean it's lost. It means it's becoming more honest, more aligned with the man you are now, not the man you once hoped to be. And if you're evolving, your vision should evolve with you. There's a truth that older men know and younger men often miss. The journey itself is the crucible. The friction, the detours, the days no one sees. That's where your character is carved. The end goal is not what changes you. It's who you have to become in order to get there that does. So if your path feels slow, good. Let it. If it feels lonely, welcome that too. These are signs you're on the edge of something real. Something most men talk about but never touch. Something worth your full attention. And if you've adopted Stoic principles, this is where they come alive. Not in abstraction, but in the daily execution of a dream. Stoicism reminds you that while you don't control everything, you do control what matters most: your effort, your response, your mindset. So before the noise begins tomorrow, ask yourself one question. Am I still walking toward the man I promised myself I'd become? If the answer is yes, keep going. If it's no, adjust. Either way, you're not too late. You're just getting started. And if this reflection strikes a chord with you, share it, speak it, live it. Because some man out there, maybe even the man you used to be, needs to be reminded that the fire isn't out. Not yet. Thanks for watching. If this spoke to you, share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And if you found value here, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's next.